again, he's quoting Genesis, I think chapter 2, verse 24, and quoting Moses back to them so they can get the understanding. And he's stating it just like it says in Malachi, that the two are now one. Okay? He's bringing it back to let them realize that even before the law was given, this is the way it was. This is the way it was created. This is the way he designed it. Okay? Now, the answer directly comes again when he says therefore. He establishes what he's talking about, and it says therefore this. Therefore, here's the answer. What God has joined together, let man not separate. That's the same thing that we read previously. That's his answer to the question, to the first question. All right? God has joined them together, let man not separate them. You don't want to separate something that God has joined together. He says he stands as a witness between what we read in Malachi. He is the witness. He stands as that witness as guarding that promise that you've made to not deal treacherously with her. As I said, some of the other translations put it. Okay, so let's continue on here, and let's look at the second question, because verse 7, there's a second question. The second question says, why then did Moses command that a man give his wife a certificate of divorce and send her away? So they heard his answer. They heard his teaching and said, then okay, well, if that's the case, then why? If that's the case, then why did Moses allow it? You need to clarify this, okay? And Jesus does here. And just like we saw previously, okay? Let's take a look at his answer. His answer to the second question is, Moses did permit you to do that. That's correct. It is written there. He did permit you to do that. But that's not the way that I designed it. He's the creator. Remember, that's not the way that I set it up. That's not the way that it's supposed to be. It was given to them because their hearts were hard. Because they did not want to listen to what he said. They did not want to do what he said. It was permitted. Okay? Because they didn't want to listen. Because they were rebellious. Because they would not listen to what his ways were. Now, just to point this out, that what Moses said and what the law was, that was given at a certain time. We stand now 2,000 years past Jesus' statements on this with a much clearer understanding. Jesus came to make known things that have not been known since the beginning of the world. He's making known to us right now the true meanings of marriage, the true meanings of adultery, the true meanings of divorce. He's making us known, making this known to us. He's fulfilling the law, not getting rid of it, completing it, fulfilling it. We have a better understanding now. He's broken it down here to show us. We don't have a claim as Christians to Moses, for what Moses said. It's been clarified. It was permitted, but here is why. They didn't want to listen. I don't know about you, but I know my heart's been hardened to the Lord at different times, but that's not an ideal state. That's not something I would want to be in. And I hope no one here would. We want to be corrected by the Lord. We want to be drawn by him. We don't want to be in that state. But we have a clear understanding now. We can't look to what Moses said on that. Jesus has clarified. He's completed and fulfilled what the law has said. So let's continue on here and see what else he says. So we'll see. We got up to verse 9. Did we read it? I tell you that anyone who divorces his wife, except for marital unfaithfulness, and marries another woman, commits adultery. Now, this is the verse that tends to be taught wrong, and tends to be the one that causes confusion. Okay? Because some people might say that, oh, well, Jesus, after stating what he's joined together, let no one separate, after we read in several other Gospels, clear cut, nothing, that now all of a sudden there's an exception clause. And what we got to point out is, number one, this is a response not to the first question of is it okay to get divorced, but to the second question of why. Okay, this is the response to the question of why. And secondly, just like we saw in Matthew chapter 5, the exception clause, the exception deals with whether or not adultery is being caused as an outcome of the divorce. You remember in chapter 5 it says you cause her to commit adultery when you divorce your wife. Because when she goes to get remarried, that's when the adultery happens, and you cause that. All right. Now, the same type of thing is what it says here. I tell you that anyone who divorces his wife, except for marital unfaithfulness, and marries another, commits adultery. The same way you can say is, I tell you that anyone who divorces his wife and marries another woman commits adultery, except if adultery has already happened. Of course, you're not causing that to happen. That's not an outcome of the divorce because it's already happened. The marital unfaithfulness has already happened before the divorce. And the second thing to look at that from that verse is, again, he's calling the remarriage adultery, meaning the first marriage is still standing. The covenant is not broken. He still is standing as a witness between you and the wife of your youth, just like it said in Malachi. This lines up perfectly with what the Old Testament prophets and patriarchs and what Jesus is saying and what Paul is saying. Okay? 100%. The original marriage still stands. God still stands as witness in that case. He hasn't gone away. And just like Paul said, it doesn't end until the death of one of the parties. That's why we say, that's what we get until death do us part. This is from that. You're going to be held to your word. Your bond, your covenant that you're standing and making a promise to in front of people or in front of just God himself, because he's there wherever you're at. He stands as that witness. He stands as the one that reminds you, hey, you promised this. Don't deal treacherously with your wife. Now, I understand that that's a hard thing to look at, and that it's a difficult teaching. And if you're sitting here and you're thinking, wow, that can't be true because that's just too tough. Why would God make something so tough and so hard to accept? Don't worry, you're not alone in that. All of us are in the same thing. And second, and also, let's look at verse 10. Okay, because verse 10, we're going to see the disciples' reaction to what Jesus had just said. Okay. Now, if he just said something that was pretty much, what they understood, should be no reaction, or maybe say, right on. But there's a reaction here. Okay, let's take a look at that. The disciples have a reaction, and they said to him, if this is the situation between a husband and wife, if this is really what you're saying between a man and a woman, if this is really what you're talking about, it's better not even to get married. It's better not even to get married if this is if the covenant is that strong. If this is what you're saying to us, you know what? It's not even worth it, is what they're saying. Okay? Because they realize that Jesus just laid out a pretty tough plan, a pretty tough idea of what a marriage covenant, a promise is, and what it means to keep your word. And that, that by breaking that, you cause others to sin. He's just outlined a pretty serious plan. So that's what I'm saying. If you take that and say, wow, that's pretty serious, you're right, because the disciples did the same thing. Now, if they had gotten it wrong or misunderstood him at this point, Jesus could have taken this opportunity to then clarify and say, no, it's not that bad. But he doesn't. Look at verse 11 and verse 12. Jesus doesn't say that. He replies to them, not everyone can accept this teaching, but only those to whom it has been given. So, not everyone can accept that it's better not to get married, but to those who has been given. For some are eunuchs because they were born that way, others were made that way by men, and others have been renounced marriage because of the kingdom of heaven for God. They renounced it for God. But the one who can accept it should. He confirms that then to them. If you can accept that, not to get married, it's better not to get married, is what he says. Because it is a difficult thing. It is a lasting bond, a covenant that is strong. And he's going to hold you to that promise. He's going to hold you to that oath that you stand before men or stand just before him. He's going to hold it to you, and that's a serious thing. So Jesus goes right along with it and says, yeah, that's the way it is. And you can see from their reaction, it wasn't an easy thing to take. It wasn't an easy thing for them to understand.